Hey everybody, Jay here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about what happens when an outdoor wood boiler runs out of wood. So as you can see, we got absolutely nothing left. The temperature's down to unfortunately 130, so I pretty much underestimated the need last night for firewood. So yes, let's go show you inside what happens when an outdoor wood boiler runs out of wood, what precautions are in place so that your pipes doesn't freeze, your machine doesn't freeze. So let's go hop downstairs, show you how that works, and then we'll come back out here, we'll get a fire going. All right, everybody, we're back down here. I had to dub over the audio here because the actual oil furnace is running. But basically, for those of you who are just joining us here, these are our inlet pipes for the outdoor wood boiler. This is our feed and this is our return. It runs through a heat exchanger. But what happens is, if this water cools to, you'll see it's set here. If this water cools to 130 degrees, basically what it does is it reverses the whole setup here. So our oil furnace will kick on, our oil furnace will heat up the hot water, which will run through these pipes here, and it will heat up. Instead of going from hot to cold, call it, this is going to be your house water. Instead of going outdoor wood boiler, 170, 180 degree water, instead of going from right to left, now it's going left to right. So it's basically set at 130 when this whole setup here, this pump here, senses that this water coming in is 130. It will automatically basically kick on the oil, reverse the polarity, I don't know if there's a better term for it, and then it will start cycling water heated up through our oil furnace here through the heat exchanger this way, which will in turn, this constantly runs, this feed here, this feed and return, this constantly makes a loop, as you can see, through the right side of that heat exchanger. But basically, when this goes cold, this continues the loop with hot water supplied from our oil furnace here. Now we have an oil furnace here. We have a pretty good Buderis, top of the line, pretty good. Let me see if I can show you the specs there. For those of you who maybe, I have a lot of plumbers that follow the channel. But anyways, this will kick on, heat up hot water, which in turn will run through our heat exchanger, and then which will keep our outdoor wood boiler water from freezing. One thing I want to point out is that this will not heat up the outdoor wood boiler water to 180 degrees again. It will only keep it at 130, enough to not freeze, and then obviously it needs to use other energy to continue to supply the heat for the other sides of the house. So it's pretty much a fail-safe. It'll keep the water at 130 degrees, and yes, it will still supply heat through the house. But basically, now you're relying on your oil furnace to maintain the 300-gallon water jacket at 130 degrees. So needless to say, it takes a fair amount of oil if your machine runs out as far as a backup, if you're wondering. All right, so we're back out at the machine. We're gonna see if we have any coals left at all hiding in here. It's a little bit under this piece. This piece is hot. We're gonna use that to our advantage here. So let's see if that works. Let's re-get something going here. All right, so that piece is starting to flame up a little bit, so we're gonna use that. We have some hardwood pallets here. They're a little damp, but we're just going to use the pallets to get the fire up. Okay, let's get some paper. All right, so as you can see here, our pallets are going. We still got that one log left that was smoldering. But anyways, our pallets are burned. Our pine kindling will take over and heat up the water jacket. And then once it's all up to temperature and this is all burned up, we'll come out here and we'll load it with some big normal rounds like it should be. So yeah, that's pretty much what happens. All right, so I like to use like pallets, scrap wood, pine, just to bring the temperature back up. Again, we have to heat up 300-gallon water jacket all the way back up to 180 degrees from 130. So it's going to take a little bit of energy. So needless to say, we have a few more pallets and a bunch of other scrap woods that we're going to use. Once we get the temperature back up to like 170, 180, that's when we'll go back to the good, you know, premium firewood. I hate to just use my premium firewood just to bring the temperature back up when I can get away with, you know, pallets and stuff that'll burn quick. So anyways, that was today's video on what happens when an outdoor wood boiler runs out of wood. Like you saw in the basement, we have that switch that basically reverses the polarity, if you will, of the heat exchanger, which takes now heat from the house, runs it through the left side of the heat exchanger, which in turn heats up the water that's constantly circulating in this machine. So that's what happens. It's basically a switch, and 130 degrees is the lever. So this machine will transfer heat to the house all the way up until 131 degrees. As soon as it hits 131, boom, you have a switch in the pumps, switch in the polarity, which will pull house from the oil furnace that kicks on, which will help. This won't actually heat up this water to 180 degrees. It will only keep it at 130, but it will keep it from freezing. So that's what happens if you're away or if your fire burns out. So as you can see here, we're talking, these pallets are getting nice and hot, nice and crispy. That pine kindling's going up great. So we're gonna go ahead and shut that. And yeah, that pretty much sums up today's video. So appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think. If you have comments, put them below. But yeah, we just covered today what happens when an outdoor wood boiler runs out of wood. So yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think, and we will, like I always say, we will see you out in the woods.